Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and very recently one of my friends asked me why I choose to edit my own films. And I thought it was an interesting question that would warrant an episode. Now, ultimately, yes, it's about me and things like that, but I think there are many things that I can extract from this and how you can apply it to yourself. And not just for filmmaking, but things in general, okay? Now, before I fully get into it, though, I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It truly does mean a lot to me, as I hope it does to you. So let's get into this. So, there's three main reasons why I choose to edit my own films. Number one, the cost. Me editing it is obviously free. Yes, it takes time, and many people will argue time is money. But at the same time, I know the job that I can deliver to it, right? Like, by nature, I am an editor. And it's also so much more saved, right? Because I could maybe find somebody that I can afford to edit my movie. And this is a feature film, by the way, not just a short film. But then you're kind of sacrificing the quality. And so I would have to kind of essentially go back in and do it anyway, right? So it doesn't make sense. So partly it's out of necessity in that way because the funds aren't there to hire an editor that could actually match the skill level of me to pull this off. The other aspect of it is, because of budgetary constraints, I look for things that I can do myself, and I'd rather use the money on things that I can't do myself. So a big example of this is color correction. I know I can edit the movie. That I know. But what I also know is that I can't color correct it. I can make it look okay, but not, true color correction is an art form. It elevates the movie to such degrees, and many times gets overlooked, right? But it's a big component of it. And so I'd rather put that money towards that than something else. Or, even just like song rights. Like, wouldn't it be better if I put in money towards getting songs for the movie rather than putting it to something that I can already do? So I think that's a first mistake, is that people offload a lot of the work to somebody else when they can do it themselves. And to tie in the loop of, okay, yes, time is money and things like that, but think of it this way. If you're not making more money than what's going to cost you to do that, it's not worth it, right? Not in that sense. Because you have to be able to afford to pay somebody. So if you can't afford to pay somebody, it's a non-starter. So be strategic with how you spend your money. Spend it on things you can't do as opposed to the things that you can do. Another example of this is, some people have ghostwriters for their novels. I don't. I write it myself. But then I hire somebody to help me really revise and edit and make sure all the grammar is good and stuff like that, right? That's just another example. But so that all encompasses, number one, the cost. Number two, specific to editing, it teaches you so much about performances, writing, camera work. So why should I pass that up? Editing, in a sense, is a deconstruction of all the various techniques. By editing, you become a better director. By editing, you can become a better actor. By editing, you can become a better writer. By editing, you can become a better cinematographer. So why the hell would I want to pass that up? No way. No way. I'm not passing that up. And by the way, this isn't just for film editing specifically. Yes, the the performances and stuff like that and camera work, but also, speaking of the novel, when someone like an Emily Krempholtz, who I work with, goes through and redlines my text, through the editing process, it teaches me of, okay, what are the changes, right? I can directly see, rather than just her I send off a draft and then she kicks it back fully revised. I see what goes into it, cross this out, add this word here, add a like whatever it is, change this word. And that's a beautiful thing. That teaches you so much. So whenever possible, don't skimp out on the editing process in whatever form that might be. Doesn't just have to be film, because that's where the real learning happens. And third, it's just fun. It's my movie, right? And so I love seeing it come together. Now, it begs the question, and this is ultimately the reason why it was asked, was, does that make you less collaborative? No. Why should it? Collaborative is all really a mindset, right? So collaboration doesn't just have to mean like, oh, let me give somebody else work. It's all about input. And whenever I work with people, or just whatever project, I try to be as collaborative as possible. Not because I'm altruistic, because it makes the project better. When I worked on my movie, or when I worked on my novel, novels, in theory, one of the most solitary things possible. And yet I was always bringing input and things like that to try to make it the best novel I could write at the time. Right? And so collaboration isn't just purely like, oh, here's, go do this. Because there's plenty of movies that I can think of and that are examples where there's a lot of people working on something, but it doesn't feel collaborative in the least bit. Whereas just because I don't have a crew of even, our entire, the core cast and crew is 15 people. But that 15 people are instrumental every step of the way. So everyone carries a large load, if you will, and therefore has their stamp of input in the movie. And that to me is beautiful. So that's the way I look at collaboration, and also the three main reasons why I choose to edit my own movies. As I said, I hope it is helpful. If you have any questions or thoughts of your own, please ask away down in the comment section or hit me up on social media at Phil Svitek. Happy to answer anything you've got. Likewise, if you are looking for more direct interaction, well, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Phil Svitek. That is a way for us to, get more direct connection and so forth. And, as this episode has all implied, I work on my own stuff that is available, books, movies, all that good stuff. So if you're curious about any of that, well, the links are in the description box for you to check out. And it means the world to me if you considered purchasing. All right. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you, and hope to see you next time.